Discovery, go at throttle up. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
What do you call a rocket that enjoys eating a little too much? Super heavy.
Well, the link's ready to go. I just got to jog up the YouTube stream and go from there. Stand by for the Space and Rocket Review. Okay, what's going on, YouTube? Are you guys out there? Can you hear me? How am I? 5x5, 6x7, 8x3, 4x4. I like 4x4. All right. Give me one moment. One moment. I like turtles. 2x4. What are you building a house? Okay, I think we're good to go. Let's send it. Welcome to the Space and Rocket Review, complete with functioning green screens. Zubatsky, what's going on? All right. How's everybody doing? So, it is April 24th, 2025. It is Thursday, I think. And let's go do the Space and Rocket Review. All right. I got a bunch of stuff. Let me just kind of organize it. OP Creeper in chat, thank you very much for sending off all this here. There's a bit of couple. Uh-oh.
Tranquility Base here.
Oh no.
The Eagle has landed.
What do doctors do for people obsessed with yachts? Prescribe antibiotics.
Okay, that's going to do it for the Space and Rocket Review. I'll see you guys next time. All right. So, let's start here. How about we start with this? So, it's coming from Eric Berger here. That's the wrong key. The Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation will vote on Jared Isaacman's nomination to lead NASA on Wednesday, April 30th. Chairman Cruz announces an executive session for April 30th. The U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, chairman of the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation, will convene a full committee executive session on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025, at 10 a.m. Standard. We're not on standard time right now. We're on daylight time. What are we doing? Are we doing it at 9 a.m.? Or To consider the following nominations in legislations. Olivia Trusty, the FCC, and Jared Isaacman, NASA. So it's at 9. Yeah, it's at 9. We are definitely not on standard time right now. Did somebody, It's weird. So there will be a the markup will stream live on the committee website. Okay, looks like we got a live stream. I'm gonna watch it. I'm interested. I hope you guys are too. The DST meeting. Come on. Yeah, of course. So, that's good. We've been on basically a very dry drip feed of space news for the past couple of months. Basically, we're kind of in a holding pattern with what NASA's going to do. Typo alert. I'm sorry? Oh, so yeah, that... Wait a minute, that is the... This isn't the actual vote. This is the... full committee executive session. This is just the Senate subcommittee vote, which... Why? So the Senate subcommittee is going to vote, and then the entire Senate's going to vote. Why are we... Why are we... All right. Yeah, the vote before the vote, of course. You got to make sure that people, are going to vote for him. You're going to make sure they're going to vote for him now, so you make sure you can vote for him later as well. That's... Two free lunches. That's exactly what that is. That's 2 free lunches. All right, next bit of news. Rocket Lab. Got another HASTE launch alert. We've been awarded the first full-scale flight test under the Department of Defense Mach TB 2.0 program by Kratos Defense, scheduled for liftoff in Q1 of next year. So, HASTE missions are a type of electron mission that goes on a very shallow suborbital trajectory. Meaning instead of using the rocket to get up there and then go fast, it uses the rocket to get kind of up there and then goes really, really fast. It's a very shallow trajectory. HASTE is used for testing hypersonic stuff. What stuff? Good stuff. That's good stuff. That's what it's used for testing. So that's cool. That is launching Electron rockets out of Wallops. So that's going to go out of Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport. What is it? Yeah, what is it used for? It's used for good stuff. It was called Kratos. Kind of a giveaway. Shh. 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 Camelot. 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 It's only a model. Shh. 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 I assume HASTE is a successor to Pegasus in that role. I mean, Pegasus can launch into space, dude. That is an orbital vehicle, but yeah, Pegasus could be used for doing hypersonic research as well. Sorry, off topic, but I forget. What's your Pats going? Who are your Pats going with tonight? Gentry? Oh yeah, hand egg. I don't know, to be honest with you. I would. Yeah, I'd have to look at the picks. I'll defer to your judgment, Worst. Anyway, so we got a Rocket Lab HASTE, huge HASTE contract. That's good. Scheduled for liftoff in Q1 next year. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so The next bit here is coming from Brady Keniston. Brady was out there with NSF, with some of my NSF contemporaries, co-workers, covering ESAR's Spectrum launch. Now, of course, the Spectrum launch, pretty much right after this picture was taken, decided it didn't want to be a rocket anymore. It decided it wanted to be a submarine, and turns out rockets don't make good submarines, but that didn't stop Brady from getting very, very nice pictures. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's see what we can see. Whoa. Huh. That is really big overexpansion going on there on at least 4 engines. You see that, dudes? You see how the flame isn't filling up all of the nozzle? That's, Huh. Hey, Outdoors. What's going on? How's your body feeling? Is this the pre-show for tomorrow's Flame Trench, or how many pre-shows are we? At least 3. So this is the Spectrum rocket. This is ESAR Aerospace's Spectrum rocket. Guys, I don't know if that's intentional, but that's definitely not good. This right here. See this thing? See that thing right there? That's not good. You generally want the explosion to fill up all of this. Having that in there means you're getting flow separation in the nozzle. That's paving the way for something to go very, very wrong. Now, I can see at least 4 engines out of their 9 engines that are doing that right here in this picture. I can't speak for the other 5. Even though the center one kind of does look like that too. Yonk. That's not ideal. Unless they intended on doing that, but yeah. Either way, really nice picture from Brady. Good dog. Big dog. Big dog. Really, really nice picture. Chamber pressure issue then? I don't know, dude. That could be anything. They could have been intentionally throttled down. It's possible. I mean, the flames coming out of here... You see, the thing is, dudes, the flames coming out of here... Man. This looks all nice and uniform, which doesn't tell me combustion chamber instability. That tells me that this is throttled back. Either that or these nozzles are optimized for a slightly higher altitude. So when the rocket gets, 1,000 feet off the ground or 2,000 feet off the ground, you won't get flow separation because the ambient pressure will allow these flames to expand inside of the nozzle. Sometimes rockets do that. Sometimes rockets don't have a nozzle that's designed to work at sea level, but it's designed to basically be able to withstand the flow separation at lower altitudes to get a better optimization up there. Which does make sense. I'm going to go ahead and guess that that's probably what's going on. Seeing it uniformly across at least 4 engines is either indicative of a catastrophic plumbing problem that's affecting 4 engines. And even if it was affecting these engines, the plumes wouldn't be so defined. This tells me that that's on purpose. Like the RS-25. Yeah. Could it be soot from film cooling? I don't know. Maybe it's just the picture. Maybe it's just a picture. I mean, whatever it was, ESAR definitely did have some problems. They definitely had something wrong there. Does the far left engine mostly hidden looks like it has something up with the flow or is that more of a visual effect? It's more of a visual effect. Yeah. It's just the heat. You could see the plume. The plume is pretty defined right there. And it's about as defined as the other one. That's just heat coming off the vehicle. See all the heat? Look at all the distortion. Oh, man. That looks like a Van Gogh painting, dude. Look at that. I don't know, Erudite. I don't know exactly how it works, but... Either way, beautiful shot. Nobody knows how it works, but it's provocative. Okay, so we have some news from Blue Origin. Check this out. Oh, yeah. I've seen it, Andrew, yeah. So Blue looks like they were testing a second stage out there at Slick Complex 36. GS2. Yeah, that's definitely what's going on there. That is a second stage test article. We know that that's the case because Dave Limp posted this. Dave Limp.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I don't know how good this video is going to be. Headphone users, it might be loud. Just warning. I don't know. I've never seen this video up until now. So, yeah. Because I gave the warning, I'm turning it up, okay? How much water do you want? That thing even fire, or? Oh yeah, there it goes. Yeah, alright. Yeah, it's definitely on there. I just thought you would hear it, but... Alright, cool. Oh, it was only for a second. See the depress vent? Yeah, it was only for a sec. Now, Dave Limp did have another post. Two B3s. One over there, one over there. It's hard to tell if anything's nice and happy from this picture, but it didn't blow up, so I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's pretty good. EUS would be so good with the BE3U. Yep. 15-second fire. Cool. Good. So we got a second stage test here from Blue. Not bad. Not bad. That tells me that the next New Glenn flight is just around the corner, which is pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that. I don't know about you. Also, we have some really nice pictures of Really nice pictures of Complex 36. Who else uses the BE3? Nobody. I want water. Water, please. Excellent, man. They also increased thrust from 173,000 pounds to 175,000 pounds. Damn. What are they doing? Oh yeah, I heard the honk at the very end, dude. You can hear it. So, what is Dave Limp saying here? January's Glenn Stage 2 performed remarkably during our inaugural New Glenn launch, delivering our payload to orbit with less than 1% deviation from the target. Today, we completed a full duration 15-second hot fire test of the upper stage for our NG2 mission. This time, we achieved enhanced performance of the BE3U engine, increasing the maximum thrust from 173,000 to 175,000 pounds per engine, further expanding New Glenn's capabilities for our customers. Performance from the B3U engine, increasing the maximum thrust from 173 to 175.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
What's the end of a race called in Scandinavia? A finish line.
No, Badger, it's not that. That's not that bad for a first try, but no Raptors here as well. Hey, Newtopia, what's going on? Is this Flame Trench? No. All right, so what's 175,000 pounds force in kilonewtons for the Kerbal players? That's 778 kilonewtons per motor. Whoa. That is a pretty powerful upper stage. Oh, man, I wish that thing could have been on SLS. Dude, okay, this is the shameless time for EJ to say that he thinks a Glen Stage 2, GS2 would be better on top of SLS. And I'm not sorry. Not sorry. Yep, nope, that would be amazing. I freaking wish, dude. Anyway. So, yeah. You know, we got a B3U, or a GS2 hot firing here from Blue. Everything looks real good. How's it going for Orion, though? I don't know. The 318 has more power. I'm not sure if it does, brother. Yeah, hopefully we need to see another GS1 ready to go. But, yeah, it looks like Blue is well on the way for their New Glen 2 mission, which is actually pretty cool. That's good. Good for them. More rockets, more better, as always. All right, so let's take a look. We got an LSR time lapse. Let's see what we got here. Ready? Crane is moving. Other crane is moving. So those are the legs for the pad right there, for the OLM. See, 1, 2, 3. We're just waiting on the fourth one, I think. What are those? As the white boys say on the internet. What are those? Oh, there it is. That's the top of the flame buckets. The fourth is installed. It's there, Ariel. All right, cool. Good to know. All 4 are installed. Yeah, okay, the other one would be over here then. Yeah, cool. Just the camera angle. Hey, a man basket. I just want to pause and look at the scale. Look at the scale of people walking around. Look at the flights of stairs. You look at this and you think you got a good idea of how big this stuff is, and then you see the big pickup truck right there. And you start noticing things. This freaking pad is huge. They're putting the hold down clamps on the new OLM. All right. They're really coming along pretty damn quick. More barriers. That A-frame is at least 40 feet tall, right? So, yeah, I mean, Falcon, look at the flights of stairs, dude. So 1, 2, 3, 4 flights of stairs. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's crazy, man. 2 weeks and we should have an OLM at the pad, you think? Yeah. Besides the tower, the pad is so different than pad A. It really is, no, but yeah. Utopia, you're cleaning the garage, getting ready to replace the vacuum power booster and master cylinder on your F-150. Oh, that's a job. Have fun. And Godspeed. Yeah, there you go, man. That's another LSR time lapse. A lot of stuff going on. In the meantime, we got another picture from Starship Gazer. They added these boxes here. See those? That's... Judging by the studs that are kind of welded in the side, it looks like those have rebar in them. And if they have rebar in them, that means concrete is getting poured in them. This is what the orbital should have always been. Yeah. Those are the flame trench walls. Yep. That is beefy, dude. And then there's the top of the flame bucket, see? We noticed from a picture the other day that that has a bunch of small holes drilled in it. So when that thing's going to fire, it's going to shoot off like kind of like a rainbow shape almost. The legs tie into the walls of the trench. Yep. What will we actually do if it breaks this thing? It won't break this thing. Space engineer counted the holes. What? Wait. What? 15,898 holes. Area uncertainty along the top ridge. Potentially an extra 309 on the very top. Assuming it's mirrored exactly on the opposite side. 7,994 large ones. 7,904 small, denser ones on the center. It took 3 hours to count it. I don't, yeah, Cyborg, that's my question. Why would you do that to yourself? No, immolated. Oh, I do need to get those pictures of Raptor 3, right? Some people have too much time on their hands. Sitting on the bar stool, talking like an old fool, got the 12 o'clock news blues. Giving up hope on the afternoon soaps and a bottle of cold brew. I've got too much time on my hands. That's a great song. EJ, why can't the booster do static fires at Massey's? It doesn't have the right hookups for it, Ari. You're gonna need one, and you'd need one heck of a flame bucket like the one you see at Pad B. Guys, I firmly believe that at the very least, Pad B is going to be used for doing like longer duration static fires with super heavy, or just static fires in general. It's going to be able to do it with those flame buckets. Flame buckets are really used for long duration burns. That's what really, I mean, you are constricted by the amount of water that you have on site, but they should be able to get a really, really good burn out of that thing. So NSF lost that camera. Directorate of Defense Trade Controls is a harsh thing, but that's the rule, man. We love you. Oh, yeah, Rudy. Hey, I mean, that's the way she goes, bud. I'm not upset. Das, I don't know. I gotta talk to Das. Don't bother me, bro. Completely off topic considering the number of sheet metal holes you're going to be drilling and screwing in soon here. I have a new new tool for you to consider. Plus, this does. A flow drill? Oh. Is that a drill that relies on friction stir welding? Or just friction? A flow, look at that. Cool. It's pretty neat, dude. Also, on the other side, keep your eyes on Saturday night. We're going to roll something fun. Oh, tempt me with a good time. Yeah, more threads per hole. Yeah, I see it. Relies on stir fry. They must have to do some serious damage checks to the pad in that rocket after static firing that booster on the current pad. Yep. What's that big piece of metal on a flatbed I keep seeing pictures of? It's a Starship hold down point. You're talking about the one with the truck, right? Ugh. Ugh. You talking about that thing? Not this thing? That thing? That's a hold down point, Pop. I'm so happy for multiple reasons that this dude was moving that truck. The trucker, whoever he is, was moving this around at the same time as that. One, that gives you pretty good scale for how big that freaking part is. That thing probably weighs 20 times the amount of that truck. Second thing, that truck's dope. I want it. Second thing, that's awesome. I would like one, please. I'll take it just like that. That's fine. I'll build it. Doesn't matter. That piece was just lifted into the OLM not long ago. Yeah, exactly. So this is a hold down, dude. SpaceX has completely redone the hold down points. This is one of the things that's going to be holding super heavy. I do believe that that pad B still has 20 of those. Right? I do believe they have 20 of those still. Can we stop to admire the trailer? The trailer's nice, but the 78 or 79 F250 extended cab is pretty good. Yep, they're gonna have 20 of those. They back off. Gotta remember, SpaceX is going to increase Starship's weight by making it longer sooner, right? So that thing is most likely taking into account what the heaviest version of Starship is going to look like. There's a comment under here that says, why is there a truck on the flatbed? Contract hauler. First stop Starbase, second stop is some dude's garage. That's pretty much what's going on. Yeah, you know what? We won't do that today. $250 for scale. The pickup is intriguing. What the truck? Do you guys know when ULA's launch is supposed to go? It was found on road dead. Hey, Greg, it's on a trailer, you dill hole. It ain't on the road, so it can't be found on road dead. You butt pipe. It's on a trailer. See? You could tell because of the way it is. See that? That's not the road. So why don't you all be quiet? Why don't you all shut up? Oh, wait a minute. It's not on the road. Guess that means you need to shut the frick up. That's what I'd do if I'm saying something's wrong. Shut the frick up. Found on road dead on trailer. So the four dot? Who were you talking to in the other chat? Massey's road closer just posted. They're rolling the ship. I was talking to... Oh, that's just my best friend, Reggie. I was never fond of that fondant. First on race day. Alright, anyway. By technicality, it was found on roadside dead before on trailer. It's missing parts! What do you mean? It wasn't even drip. You guys suck. You guys suck. I give you this awesome auto stream. I teach you all about cars. You don't even know how to say the car names right. What's wrong with you? Say it with me. First on race day. First on race day. If Ford is so good, then why did Dale Earnhardt drive a Chevy? Well, Dale drove. There was another Dale that drove a Ford. That was Dale Jarrett. That was my favorite driver growing up when I was younger. I'm still doing it for Dale. We're just doing it for Dale Jarrett, not Dale Earnhardt. Okay. Anyway, you're still trying to figure out what butt pipe means? Surely a butt dumpling like you will figure it out. Anyway, this is a screen cap from Vicky of Lab Padre. Lab Padre has the camera on at the ring yard here, and oh, your job might be cool, but it's never punching out glass with an excavator cool. Man, that was like just put there like a second ago. That's a okay. How do you know my middle name? Get some, yeah. I mean, why? Yeah, just guy has the boys. What's the attachment that has a jackhammer on the end of the excavator? I forget what that attachment is called. It's not a ripper. No, a ripper is something that's on a bulldozer. Thingy's past CDR. Okay. I missed the SLS engines gibbling behind you. Somebody screwed up the GIF again, Trapo. Can't say it until after hours. Okay. All right. We'll just, yeah, save that one for later. So I do like how nothing is sacred. You know, whatever. All right, we just built it. Yeah, that sucks, but yeah, we're going to demolish this to make a better building. So yep. Hoppy is sacred or else. You know what, LSR? I find it, okay, unpopular opinion. I find it just genuinely weird that that's the thing that they saved. That's the one. Out of all the things, that's the one you saved? Not SN15? Really? Not SN15? Why did they save SN20? What the heck's that about? Yeah, I just, nothing is sacred except Hoppy, right? Like, Wounded Farm, what's that? My cousin had a 1-ton 78 fleet side with a 429 jacked up 1844 tires back in 86. That was a huge 4x4. Dude, that's mint. Mint. The amount of infrastructure SpaceX is doing is mind-blowing. I can't imagine the money invested going into that. Pop, that goes back to what I was saying. Should have kept 26? No, nothing is sacred. I'm really happy that was scrapped. The Grasshopper's still around at McGregor after more than a decade and even got a new home. They did move at LSR, didn't they? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Pop, this is what that's kind of what I'm, you know, when I used to say, like, people think SLS is too expensive. I really don't think it is. Because, dude, you got to be out of your mind to think that this right here is not a billion-dollar endeavor, a multi-billion-dollar endeavor. What's going on right here? You know? Starship launches are expensive right now. That doesn't mean they're going to be expensive in the future, and they most likely won't. But right now, Starship is probably launching to the tune of $1 billion a try. If I had to guess, I mean, that's completely made up numbers. But what else would it be? It's not 200 million. It's definitely not. There's way too much stuff going on here for it to be that low. Quagmire, 8-month resub. Thank you. It's about 350. Unlike SLS, SpaceX doesn't have to close numbers. But Nova, what I'm saying is that the development of a vehicle, which is roped into SLS's unit cost, because that's how NASA compounds numbers, if you did do it the same way, Starship would scale in complexity and capability. The numbers would line up. It would be just as expensive as SLS is. Now, development is development. You want to make a rocket that's going to go to the moon, it's always going to be expensive. You know? Like, you want to make something, you want to make anything. Pick anything right now. Like, you want to make light bulbs. That's still going to be an expensive endeavor. Light bulbs aren't expensive, but that's still going to be an expensive thing to do. How do you get your return on investment? Well, you make a lot of it. That's the difference between SLS and Starship. SpaceX is extremely hardware rich and SLS is not. It's always going to cost money. It's always going to cost money. Once again, anybody that sits here and thinks Starbase isn't a multi-billion-dollar endeavor is out of their mind. You know? Imagine if testing 747s regularly involved parachuting out of it, landing and building a new one. I think, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here as a shuttle connoisseur. I've always been in favor of reusable spaceflight. As a comparison, a car plant costs around $5 billion. Developing a new car is $5 billion to $10 billion. That's what I mean. It's always going to be expensive. It's just what you do with it after. That's why I want them to make more SLSs, because we've already spent the money on development. But, whatever. At least somebody gets it. Somebody knows what hardware rich means. Pretty happy about that. Anyway, this is coming from spaceflight enthusiast Ryan Caton of NASA Spaceflight Now. Sorry, Ryan. Documentation from the FAA indicates the SpaceX Starbase Gigabay has been proposed. Height is 117.3, good number, 385 feet, which is 5 feet taller than the Florida Gigabay determination, which is 115 meters at 380 feet.
Discovery.
You mean a Dragon only costs you $1 or $2 in filament? Oh, jeez. 2559 690 by 97 11 18. $25 degrees north, 59 minutes. I already know exactly where that is, but no, we'll just for funsies. All right, where are we talking about? It's somewhere in this vicinity. 2559 6.9. Huh? Huh. 97 11 18.4. Huh. It's gonna be right up against that parking garage. Like, the parking garage will be built into the Gigabay. And I'm assuming that that's the northwest corner. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's pretty large. Considering that's the building that they're demolishing, right? They already demolished this one right here. They already demolished that. The parking garage is finished. And those are the mega bays, dude. So, guys, for reference here, this is Mega Bay 1 and Mega Bay 2. Inside of each of these, you can see those ring pieces right there. That's the size. That's a 9-meter ring, so that's a Starship ring right here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 processing stations. 6 technically if you go right in front of the door. Inside of each mega bay. Dude, just for some reference, guys, look at the cars in the parking lot. Watch it expand and eat the mega bays. Yeah. The triangle corner is going to form from partially constructed... The triangle form is going from partially constructed to completely gone by the time Google Earth updates. Yeah. Man. I'm wondering what's going to become of the ring yard, to be honest with you. Dude, Exabay, Terabay, in before the Yada Bay. So no mega bays? I don't know, maybe they'll get rid of them. Petabay, Petabek. Is that Elon's house in the middle of those buildings? No, I don't know what SpaceX uses that house for. That's one of the houses that was here. That house was here for a long time. See? It's been there a while. Wait, what's going on here? That's not 2003. That's a little bit older. Okay. Starbase now reminds you of Michoud. It's basically what it's going to look like. I mean, Baron, like, the other thing that I'm thinking, dudes, is that why keep these? You're going to have this. Why have those? Those are probably going to get demoed, and they're probably just going to put more manufacturing space back here. That's my guess. I don't really see any particular reason to have these things. I mean, do you guys? What would Mega Bay 1 and 2 serve? A second Gigabay? I mean, fellas, like I said, the Gigabay is basically from here to here. You think they'll just build another one? Bungee jumping locations. Now, here's another question. You think they'll demolish them and then build another one? Build another Gigabay? Perhaps. It will get consumed. Yeah. Yeah, build another one after the first one is up. Maybe storage for boosters and ships. That's a good idea, Vasi. I mean, you know there's going to be a door. The doors on a Gigabay are definitely going to be lined up with the ring yard. Maybe if you want to store something, you put it over there. So, like, put the rocket garden indoors, which would be kind of cool. Payload integration. Now, there's an idea, Creeper. Yeah. Nothing is sacred. Build the new one and wreck the outdated. Kind of with you on that one, LSR. I don't see what those will serve no purpose anymore. Get rid of them. Mustang. How many SBMTs are needed to move the OLM? Oh, they're gonna need a good amount, Derek. That thing is big. All of them. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. So yeah, and it's also interesting that this one is slightly bigger. It's slightly higher. It's higher by 5 feet, which, curious. Curious why you'd want that. The new bay can lightly do all the things that mega bays do. My bet is that eventually the mega bay will extend back to the water, and you'll have the ring yard covered with Gigafactory, making the whole complex roughly symmetrical. Maybe. Perhaps. Perhaps. Office space on top. Yeah, maybe. It's so crazy to me that SpaceX is finishing the zoning that was started when Boca Chica Village was made. Oh, there's the hovercraft. It's so cool. Height rules in Florida? Yeah, maybe. I'm just looking around. It's always, this is like, it's superb eye candy here. Is there still like, wait a minute. What does the Google Earth image look like? Dude. There's a lot more plots zoned out in the water. I know, we've seen them. Is that a High Bay 1 in that shot? Yeah, neither of those buildings nor the tents are there. Oh, man. What an old picture. This is 2021. This is from a long time ago. Dude, this doesn't even look like this anymore. There is a huge factory right here. There's a gigantic freaking building. That's probably about as tall as my mouse cursor. Here. That dude needs to mow his lawn. That's what I was looking at. Jeez. Last time we took a tour of Starbase, you mentioned that the tracking station was taken down. When did that happen, and what do they use now? They don't have a tracking station here. At least not in that particular sense. Jim, what do they use this area for now? There's more houses there, dude. SpaceX is building tract mansions for all their employees. If you go out and up Highway 4, you could see the cranes and Sanchez building the vertical tanks. Wow. Why are you snooping out my place of work? That's weird. Because you weren't doing it before you worked there? Bro, you look up weird in the dictionary, you're going to see your name. In transfer aisle towards the highway. That's the extent of what you could say. The Giga Bay will be a bit different than the one in Florida. You will see it. They might release some renders during the next flight. Integration between it and the factory is going to look odd. A transfer aisle. Ah, interesting, Rudy. Huh. Pretty good, man. Dude, what a complex, man. What an absolute unit. I wonder what they will do. Sounds like the ring yard is going to become the ring transfer aisle. From what it sounds. That's pretty neat, man. Oh, boy. I was referring to the height restriction question. If the VAB is taller than the Giga, it could be taller as well. The VAB is way taller than the Gigabay rarest. Yeah, like way taller. Damn. That's nuts, dude. What a complex. What a complex. Pretty cool. Will they be rainbirds on the OLM? I would probably do that. That'd probably be a good idea. Or at least a Fire X, right? Like, booster side and ship side, I think with all the expansion, I think Star Factory won't be big enough. Yeah, thousands, you're probably right. They're building one in Florida that's bigger. Don't worry about that. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah, seriously. The one at Roberts Road is going to be bigger. The Gigabays are going to be about the same size, right? With this one being a bit taller. The one at Roberts Road is, yeah, if you thought Star Factory was big, no. Roberts Road is this facility right here. Because Google Earth has just not updated. That picture's from like 2005 or something. Whoop! So the Gigabay over here is going to be something like that. And the complex is not exactly like this. It's probably from the papers that I've looked at. Yeah, about that. So Gigabay would be taking up about that much. Yeah, right there. It's huge. The VAB is 525 feet. The Gigabay is 380 feet. That's right. It goes in the VAB hole. So it's 8.5 by 11. Oh yeah, yeah. Go back to 2018 and see how much Bokeh's changed. Dude, the pictures that we were just looking at, Lex, are outdated by a long shot. The top-down pictures. So it'll only fit a Saturn 3.5. Yeah. Yep. That's the complex. So, you know, you're looking at it, you're like, okay, that's pretty big. Now, no, look at the cars. I always say look at the cars. Look at the Starship towers that are being built there at Roberts. Look. That is a huge facility. That's going to be bigger than Star Factory. So, yeah. I bet it's just a facade. The real production is actually Skittles. You know, I can't prove you wrong. So, you might be right. Is that where the squirrel's going to? Face the square hole. That's right, it goes in the square hole. I'm going to talk to a friend of mine and see if he has photos from way back. He was a tower goat from the beginning of Pad A. Really, David? Is it Black Mesa sized? Well, technically Black Mesa is infinitesimally huge because of the portal to Zen. So if you count the portal to Zen and all of Zen as another dimension, Black Mesa's a tesseract like facility. It's gigantic, right? Would that be fair? Or are we only counting up to Sector C anomalous materials? Or the Lambda division? Which one? How big is it? I love Half-Life. Amazing, amazing game. This story is so good. Frigging nerds. Things are going well that I'm expecting to announce it for a third factory by the end of the year. A third factory, one man? Half-Life 3 incoming. We'll see if they make a sequel to Half-Life Alyx. Elon gave a small update on Raptor 3. Alright, cool. Yeah, I wanted to find this stuff. Hi. Lambda Lambda Lambda? No, Omega Mu. Elon and Steve Jobs are both famous for pushing people to simplify their designs. I don't think this is a coinkadank. Large organizations naturally generate complexity, but if you have a CEO who hates it, this tendency is kept in check. Half the reason I posted is just you love to. Oh. We would have GTA 6 before Half-Life 3. I have to keep reminding myself, Otan, that GTA 6 comes out this year. Unfortunately, for us PC goobers, it's not coming out anytime soon. But, fear not. I have an Elgato 4KX. I bought it when I was in Boca Chica. Because I wanted it. Don't worry about that. Half-Life 3 will only come out once all the Half-Life 1 and 2 fans are dead. Yep. So, is GTA 6 worth a new-gen console? Graham, here's the part where you're expecting me to say, well, I don't know, man. I don't think you should buy a console, for one game, GTA 6, it's probably, like you shouldn't really buy a console for one game. Like, you should buy it for multiple games and you get your money's worth. I'll buy a console for GTA 6. I'm sorry. You can judge me for that. That's fair. I love Grand Theft Auto. It's one of my all-time favorite franchises. Yep. Yep. GTA 6 is going to be $100. I don't know how much it's going to be. I'm going to buy it and we're going to play it. It's non-negotiable. I bought Xbox for Halo C. Why not? Yeah, me too, Dan. Back in the day. Or my parents did. I wasn't old enough to. Anyway. So, questions about Raptor 3. What's up? Simpler design equals cheaper? Not... Yes and no. Look below. I just see the chair. Sorry. What do you mean? When it comes out, I'm taking a break from the internet for a month. Dude, I might do that, Phil. That's the that's the factory space. Dude, it's bigger than what I showed. Oh my goodness. That is gigantic, dude. Okay. Anyway, let's see what Elon's up to. Many improvements still to come. The ugly, unreliable, and heavily bolted flange between the thrust chamber and the hot gas manifold will become a welded joint. When will you play UDSSR Simulator next time? Oh, usually on Mondays, Warhammer is when I play. But I have to wait on some supplies for the Coronet, so we could play Workers again tomorrow if you want. Yeah, Uncle X, that's what I mean. You can call me a prick for wanting to. I'm gonna buy it. You guys, I'll buy the game. I'll take one for the team. I'll buy the console for it, and you guys watch and yeah, judge or not. You know I'm gonna play the trash out of the game, so I'll be able to tell you pretty good and well if we're where we're gonna get our money, or if you're gonna get your money's worth. Funny enough, that exact joint is why you and me had that fight about Raptor reliability. I don't think it'll be an issue, dude. The final Friday night racing for GTA 5 will be biblical. You know what we're doing, right? Hang on one second. What we're doing for GTA 5, the night before GTA 6 comes out, we're gonna go on one last ride around the entire map. All along the highways, because everyone that's played this game has done that. Just cruise the highways in GTA 5. Everyone's done that. But yeah, support for PC for GTA 6 is not coming for a long time because Rockstar is doing Rockstar things or something. I'm not entirely sure why you would do that, but alright. But it is what it be, so it do. It was the first thing I did. Yeah, it's the first thing that everybody did, Joe, right? So that's got to be the last thing that we're going to do. That's why we play 5M now, Nick. We have a 5M server. You can do whatever you want on it. Then they get to release the game twice like that. Yeah, I know. Anyway. Pad B movement soon. Scaffolding and Heidi blankets are coming down. Move imminent. Alright. Here we go. Anyway, what else do you got here? So, Baron, you also linked this. NASA's Dragonfly mission, which will send a rotorcraft to explore Saturn's moon, Titan, nice name, has passed critical design review, meaning its mission plans have been approved, and the team can now turn its attention to the construction of the spacecraft itself. Wait. Hot gas manifold and thrust chamber aren't... Let me see what he said again. Many improvements still to come. The ugly, unreliable, heavily bolted flange between the thrust chamber and hot gas manifold will become a welded... Oh, he's talking about that. He's talking about that thing. Ooh. They're about to do helicopter on Titan in 20 years, yeah. They were just removing the scaffolding to put the next manifold to feed water. Oh, manifold to feed water to the plate. I got you. How long until we see Raptor 3 being used? It's going to be a little bit. Did the current administration also shrink NASA's budget? Nothing is set in stone right now, Warhammer. That weld will have to hold 300 plus bar. Yeah. Dude, the only thing I could think of like that'll hold that is like an industrial weld, like a stick weld. It's probably not going to be a stick weld, but you know what I mean, like the type of things that you'd use to weld steel beams together for like a building or something. April 30th, the Senate subcommittee votes, Denny, and then there should be a final vote after that sometime soon. That weld will be printed. Cool. In your opinion, they should cast and not weld it. How are you going to get the impeller in there if you cast that thing? You have to, well, not the impeller, that would be the turbine. How are you going to get the turbine in there? $300 bar is serious already. Imagine the force of 300 bar over that large of a surface area. It's crazy, Bill. It's absolutely insane. With a really good weld, the joint can be stronger than the material around it. Yep. Yeah, I mean, for contrast today, guys, when we were doing compression testing on the car, that was 10 bar.
Go at throttle up.
10. This is 300. It's got a little more. It's got a little more get up and go. Hey, God's 53-month resub. Thanks, man. I'm also not gonna lie to you. I went and drove the Coronet around Moron break. He also said moron. Question from a non-American who is running NASA right now. There's an interim administrator, Orange, and her name is Janet Petro. She was running Kennedy Space Center before this. Yeah. The LOX turbine is above it. The main problem is the injector plate.
This is space. I'm in space.
Prominent gifted a sub to moron. Okay. Yeah, Janet Petro is running NASA right now. She's the interim acting administrator. That's what it's called. That's cool that Dragonfly passed CDR. We'll see how it see where that takes us. Speaking of that, Baron, what's the spicy news here? This is from the Space Engineer again, and it just says, unbelievable. In spite of NASA's refusal to comply with committee oversight, we have worked to understand the DOGE team and its activities within the agency. We have identified at least 3 DOGE-associated persons operating inside NASA. Scott Coulter, senior advisor, appears to be the most senior member on the DOGE team. Riley Senat, a senior advisor, and Alexander Simonpour, an advisor. Mr. Senat and Mr. Simonpour previously worked for Tesla, highlighting the conflict of interest. Okay. Compounding the absurdity. Well, that doesn't. What do you mean it's a conflict of interest? As long as they divest it from Tesla, it's not. But alright, whatever. Compounding the absurdity of NASA's unwillingness to formally disclose their identities to Congress. They have all been publicly named in multiple press reports as members of the DOGE team at NASA. None of these individuals possess the slightest background experience in space policy or government service. Okay. Where did this come from? Yet they have been granted virtuous no vetting training, an extraordinary alarming degree of high-sense facilities, personal systems. We've learned that all 3 members of the DOGE chief possess unrestricted physical access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to NASA files, including the NASA Administrator Suite on the 9th floor, NASA headquarters in Washington, D.C. We also reviewed information revealing that they possess a sweeping level of access to data systems. Okay. Yep. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, guys, as long as I'll just say this, as long as they divested from Tesla, it's not a conflict of interest. It's not like no matter how much you want it to be. Now, does that mean that unrestricted access is okay? Don't know. I'm moving on. I'm not doing this. Baron, don't link crap like this in here, please. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to talk about it on stream, dude. That was a letter to Petro from some representatives. Johan, good work as always. When are you continuing with Glorious Republic of Yakolgrad? We could tee up some workers tomorrow before Flame Trench if you guys don't mind. Jared said cool mission to the Dragonfly post. At least it has support. Yeah, of course. Have you seen this one? What's that? Oh, yeah. That shot of Starship taking off, dude? It's one of my favorite shots in the program, dude. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Should we check in on Yakov Bayersky? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, Nova, we're going to. Conan, what are you asking? If Jared gets confirmed as an administrator, do you think there will be a chance of a Hubble reboost mission? I think the opportunity will be explored, Conan, for sure. Yeah, absolutely will be explored at the very least. Did you see this? Oh, yeah, we did see Atmos from the bandwagon mission. That's pretty cool, Phil. Yeah, and it came back, too, from what I understand. A little bit of plane news from Baron. What does this say? Boeing shelves plans to fly the NASA X-66 flight demonstrator. Boeing will pause development. This is coming from the Air Current. Boeing will pause development of its X-66 sustainable flight demonstrator this summer, shelving what was once considered its most promising technology development effort for advancing aerodynamic efficiency, according to an internal memos from the company's chief Todd Citron. Company said it will redeploy some of the engineers on the program to the 777X and 737 MAX development programs, which are an immediate priority for Boeing as it seeks to first meet its commitments to existing customers. Oh yeah, but NASA just gets the shaft? Thanks for that one, guys. Appreciate that. Last June, the Air Current reported that Boeing had begun moving engineers away from the demonstrator's development to support delayed programs. Yeah. I'm going to do that. Did they get paid? Give me 1 second. Keep in mind this is off Wikipedia, so... A full-scale demonstrator based on the McDonnell Douglas MD-90 was announced on January 18, 2023, with NASA funding $425 million over 7 years, while Boeing and its partners will invest the remainder of the agreed funding, estimated at about $725 million. Separately, Boeing had already invested $110 million in sustainable aviation research. Yeah, Boeing, if you could just give NASA back that $182 million that you just robbed them because you decided you didn't want to work on this, that'd be great. Yeah, if you could just get on that, check or cash or check, whatever. Cash or check, that'd be fine. Just whatever. Money order. PayPal, maybe. That's so stupid. They should have to pay back what NASA contributed. Yeah. They should have to give back to NASA what they were paid, and anybody that says differently is mistaken. I just want to put that into perspective. That $120 million could have been used to keep Viper funding going. Just give you an example. Yeah, so NASA has been contributing to this since 2023, to the tune of $425 million over 7 years. So that equates out to about $120 million, because 2023, 2024, 2025. So they're gonna pay that back. I really hope so. I really hope so. Viper's dead in the water at the moment, yes, but it's still floating. NASA accepted only debit cards. That's right. Oh, yeah. On McGregor, we saw a Raptor vacuum. Raptor 3 vacuum. That was yesterday. You think Rook will get Viper back up and running? He frigging better. This wasn't the first time they did this. They did this. XS1 is what immediately popped into my mind. Dude, you can't just pull out of a program because you freaking feel like it. You were paid to do something. Do it. Or pay what you got paid to do it. Pay it back to NASA so they can choose somebody else. Hey, Johan. Thank you for the super chat. Have a beer on you. Will do, man. Thank you very much. You know what pisses me off about the XS1? You guys want to hear some bullcrap? The reason why I'm pissed off about this is because back in the day, NASA had a project called Phantom Express, okay? Phantom Express was looking into making reusable first stages, right? That do flyback. They go up, they fly back down, and they land, right? There were two people in the running for the XS1 contract. Maston and Boeing. Boeing got awarded the contract. Maston didn't. A good way into development, after the 737 MAX fiasco happened, Boeing decided, we can't do this anymore. Sorry, we're pulling out of the program. And NASA said, bleh. And then Maston, just on a side note, also went bankrupt and was acquired. Thanks for that, guys. Keep up the bad work. This isn't the first time they've done crap like this. No, that's bullcrap. Unacceptable. Transport closure to Massey's, either Ship 35 or TT-17. Okay, Trey. Yeah, that's unacceptable. You should not be allowed to do that. And if you do, you should have to pay back what you owe. I don't care. I don't care what you think. That's unacceptable. And if that's not a thing in their like a clause in their contract, between the contract for this between NASA and Boeing, I'm going to be a little upset. Because whoever wrote out that contract is an idiot. Which one of you is a key grip? You. I want you to hit that Boeing manager in the face really freaking hard. Welcome to lobbying and politics. Yeah, well, that behavior seems to be called out. Should be called out, but it seems like when people do, people get really mad. So there might be, Nova. It depends on the contract. It really does. The contract, which we're probably never going to see. Anyway, Raptor 3 vacuum is pretty cool. Look at it. Look at the freaking truck, dude. Unbelievable. That's a gigantic freaking thing. Wow. That's a huge engine. Would you just look at it? Yes, it's infuriating, but what is to be done about it? I don't know. Maybe somebody at NASA gets some stones and say something. I don't know. Would you just look at it? Would you just look at it? Oh, would you look at this? Somehow they're going to have 6 of those on a ship someday. Yeah, that should show you how big, just how big Starship actually is. Like, if Starship was in this picture, dude, the outside of the ship would be over here somewhere. It's freaking huge, man. Think of all the wonderful vibrations that are happening. Well, this one has stiffener rings, so don't worry about that. Baron, I walked next to one of the AR-22s every day. One of the engineers who worked on it told me they got it to fire 10 firings in 10 days. The propulsion was ready, but Boeing kept dragging their feet until they killed the... I know. I remember reading that Space News article in 2018 about the AR-22s. Tells me 2 things. 1, screw them for pulling out of the XS-1 program. They are pieces of doo-doo, caca-poo-poo for doing that. Second part, that tells me that shuttle engines were way more reusable than NASA ever let on. Who operated the space shuttle for the last, 20 years of the Boeing. So, screw them 2 times over. 2 times over. Yeah. Cool, a Raptor 3 vacuum engine. Now it can blow up in a new and more advanced way. And no faith, dude. No faith. Holy crap. There's no punishment unless you want a Boeing bailout. Working late at work. Thanks for keeping you company. No problem, Mike. Phil, what's that? Oh, the other day. Listen to this question from CRS-32 pre-launch briefing and the answer from SpaceX. This was news to you. Okay. What do we got?
Okay, thank you. Next, Josh Dinner, space.com.
Hi, thank you so much. My question is for Sarah. Can you provide any information on the Dragon trunk variation being introduced in CRS-33 to carry additional thrusters and extra propellant? Will this be a precursor test version of SpaceX's deorbit vehicle for the space station?
Hey, yeah, I'm excited you asked this question, and I'm really excited for the technology that will be flying up on CRS-33. So it is there are a lot of parallels, I would say, with the technologies and the hardware needed for the eventual deorbit vehicle, but really it's intended to be an augmentation or a supplemental capability to ISS as it continues to fly here in the next several years. So it's really just some tanks and thrusters inside our trunk. It's a bit heavier than our typical CRS mission, but other than that, you won't notice a ton of difference. And then over the last several CRS missions, we've been working together with the NASA team to test out different parts of what will be needed to actually perform a boost of the integrated stack of ISS. Things like also firing thrusters to maintain attitude control with our capsule thrusters. So a lot goes into this, but the idea is just to provide a little bit of extra propellant to continue to support in a supplemental way all the ISS is doing up there. And that will be on the CRS-33 mission, currently launching in late summer, and then I believe it will be a longer mission than our typical CRS missions to allow ISS to utilize that prop in the most efficient way possible over several different events that they're doing in the fall. So thanks for asking.
Huh. Please develop an SPS for that. Please, Super Draco derived SPS. Please. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it, bro. Just do it. You know you want to. Just do it. Just do it. That'd be awesome. The reason why is because if Dragon has a service propulsion system, or an SPS for short, and SpaceX gives it more delta V than 2 kilometers a second, You could use that for lunar exploration. Just saying. SpaceX managed to develop a service module that fast. Boeing should just give up. And for the recent CRS, we got no Dragon separation footage. There was something in the trunk. Do we really think they'll be able to fit 6 of those RVACs on Starship as it is? I think it is a pathway, Aqualex, and I'm not sure if they'll take it, but it's a viable pathway. It could do that, maybe. Gray Dragon making a comeback. Trey, dude, you could... Do you think that... You know, I was just saying, like, make a service module for Dragon, right? And put it in the fill in the trunk, put a service module there, put additional fuel tanks, which is what they're doing, right? That's to give Dragon more Delta V so they have more ISS reboost operations. That's what Sarah Walker was just saying. Now, that's all fine and dandy. But now my mind is going to, I just said, like, oh, do a Super Draco-derived service propulsion system. Why? Put more tanks in the trunk, connect up to Super Dracos, and use that as your service propulsion system. Diesel? Oh, boy. All right. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I wonder if the Super Dracos could be used like that. On one hand, I hate that we're trending towards having all of our eggs in SpaceX's basket. On the other hand, SpaceX is the only company that seems to be able to build anything that works reliably in a reasonable amount of time. It really does make everybody else look kind of stupid, huh, Buck? But yeah, I get what you're saying about no redundant dissimilarity. Fire up KSP. I haven't made a Dragon capsule in KSP in a long time. They went to burst discs on those because they found the titanium valves could explosively combust, remember? On the Super Dracos? Yeah. I recently learned about the existence of Charger 2.2. I wish I hadn't. Discuss. What do you think NASA would do with the Super Dragon capsule? With that Super Dragon capsule after they deorbit the ISS? If I remember right, NASA take use of it after. Oh, I don't know. The USDV? I have no idea. HLS landing engines? Hey, we'll get Dream Chaser soon. How do they go? How does SpaceX go so ridiculously fast? Dude, now I'm thinking like a Dragon with a dish with like an EDO pallet in the trunk, and then use the Super Dracos for the SPS for your service propulsion system. Getting the fuel to flow up and back would probably... It has to flow up to the top of the Super Dracos and then go through. That might be a little bit weird when the capsule's under acceleration, but... What's the kilonewtons of the Super Dracos? Hold on. Let's take a look. $71 kilonewtons a pop. Well, Aqualex, I wasn't... Oh, nice plane. I wasn't thinking about using this to get to the surface of the moon. I was thinking about using it to get to low lunar. Think about it for a second. If Dragon, with its Super Dracos, could get to low lunar orbit and dock with HLS, what's the point of Orion? That would be pretty cool. Yeah, you got to remember, Super Draco engines are launch escape system engines, so they make 71 kilonewtons a pop. I 100% use Super Dracos for this, but I wouldn't mess with the emergency systems to do it. That's fair. Yeah, I was going to say you could use the launch escape system Super Dracos, but maybe you don't want to screw with that capability. So just mount a Super Draco or two of them. I mean, they only come in dual chamber mode like that. Mount that in the trunk with extra tanks. Bro. How far could Falcon Heavy throw a Dragon? Falcon Heavy could throw a Dragon at the moon, but Falcon Heavy isn't human rated. Couldn't they use what they were planning for ISS deorbit for Dragon? Comus, yeah, you could do that. Sure. That's a lot of Dracos. That's a lot of Draco thrusters from what I understand. And SpaceX themselves has said it's a bespoke kind of one-off thing, so... I mean... Yeah, dude. Actually, Aqualix, what I would want is, 4 Super Dracos in the trunk with whatever the tanking system is for USDV. And then pulse the Super Dracos like you would pulse regular Dracos. Just use it like RCS. I mean, dude, there's no way it could do that. But also, that would be pretty cool. I guess this is oversimplified, but why can't Falcon Heavy be human rated? SpaceX never bothered to do it. It probably is fine. You can probably launch people on it. SpaceX just never opted to get the certifications for it. I can't believe the emergency Super Draco landing is a real option. Yeah. You believe that, Taco Bell? Yeah, they must have changed something on the saving mechanism for the Super Dracos. Which is pretty crazy, dude. Oh, yeah, S? Yeah, I see what they're doing. I see what they're doing. I see what they're doing. Terminal load on a single core post separation is nearly 7 Gs sustained. So, you know, Baron, you know how this works. Yeah, it's 7 Gs to sustain. So we're not going to do things like throttle the engines down, something we know Merlins can do. We're just, we'll put people on top of it, launch them at 7 Gs sustain, and turn them into paste on the way up. Yeah, that's a good proposal for making it human rated. Oh, wait. You could just throttle the engines down, dude. Dude, they're doing SpaceX is dude, the Dragon program is cooking up some stuff. I think that is abundantly clear at this point. It's abundantly clear that Dragon absolutely There is a pathway with the Dragon capsule that is beyond low Earth orbit. There's multiple pathways with it. Yeah, they're definitely, like, there's no way you'd be pursuing this type of stuff for deorbit vehicles, you know, Dragon XL for gateway logistics services, pursuing ISS reboost opportunities with Dragon, with backward-facing thrusters in the trunk. SpaceX, dude, something's cooking. Something's cooking. Aqualex, I get what you're saying, but I think you misunderstood what I was saying. But it's fine. It's all good. Yeah, I mean, if you want a centerline one, that's fine. Centerline one and put a vacuum optimized nozzle on it. Turn drag. I mean, how are you going to do that? You're not going to do that, right? You're not going to be able to do that because there's a Falcon 9 second stage in the way. I'm all for it. Let Dragon be the best that it can. Right? As Boeing tries to fly its capsule, SpaceX is already upgrading it. It really is getting ridiculous, Nova, isn't it? Johan, doing more stuff with Dragon because of delays in Starship, maybe? Johan, I think that SpaceX is going to get around the high barrier, all right, I'll stop for a second. I was about to say they're about to get around the high barrier of entry of human rating something, but we all know it's no secret that human rating Starship is going to take some time. Human rating, it's going to take some time. I had theorized 2028 because of the Polaris 3 mission. I don't know for sure now because the guy that was supposed to launch on the Polaris 3 mission is trying to run NASA right now. So I mean, the nose cone Dracos have a bigger nozzle and better specific impulse. Dude, it might be good enough. What's the, I mean, how much Delta V does Dragon have right now, Baron? It's gotta have a good amount, yeah? I mean, there's at least enough Delta V to keep 4 Super Dracos firing for like 15 seconds. That's a lot of fuel. No, he hasn't got confirmed. The Senate subcommittee is going to vote on it next, on the 30th, and then the Senate will vote on it at some time next week. I say let Rook have his hobbies. You'll get no argument from me, Admina. They're going to be servicing Haven too. Bast is building the equivalent of a Dragon orbital module. Yeah. Dudes, I think, okay, going back to my theory, I think SpaceX is looking to bypass human rating Starship up into space, right? I think they're looking to do that by launching a Starship up there uncrewed and then getting a Dragon to dock with it. And then transferring the crew and then going wherever they need to go. I think that's what's going. I think that's what SpaceX is pining to do. That might mean that a Dragon capsule is going to need to go to, oh, I don't know, a higher orbit. And that might also mean that, you know, a Starship might, Starship has an airlock, so that might, oh, I don't know, open you up to doing EVA operations on a Starship somehow. So Rube Goldberg spaceflight? No, not at all, Hellfish. No. Starship is your Ares 5. Dragon is your Ares 1. Just putting it out there. Keeps coming back to Constellation, doesn't it? What can I say? Constellation is great architecture. We wouldn't be in this freaking mess right now, Buckminst, if we had just decided to do it instead and not be a bunch of wimps about it, but whatever. Dragon and Starliner post-separation have about 500 meters a second Delta V. It's not enough, dude. How much delta V is the USDV going to have? The United States deorbit vehicle, so the crazy Dragon capsule, right? That is going to need, it needs 60 meters a second delta V at the very least to move a 400-ton dry mass station. Because that's how much the ISS weighs. It's 400 tons, or how much mass it is. So, I need to see something. Give me a second. I gotta check something. Draco engine. That's what I want. The Draco engine specific impulse is 300 seconds. Okay. How much is the... Well, we can't use these numbers. Let's just say it's the USDV is going to be a little bit heavier than this. I'll say 20. I'll figure in 20 tons. So the initial mass would be... Let's just say 420 tons, and your final mass, I mean, let's say the USDV has 5 tons of fuel. Still 415. Nope. It's got to have more than that. 410. That's enough. No, that needs to be metric tons, excuse me. Yeah, okay, it's all right, cool. Trunk volume on Dragon is listed as 37 cubic meters. Round down to 30. How much fuel does that get you? How much delta V? It's hard to say. I'm using the USDV and some fudged numbers just to check this. You need to have more than... To deorbit the ISS, you need about 60 meters a second delta V, right? So that means that gets us in the ballpark here. NASA would want some margins. So a Dragon capsule is 12,500, all right? And it's carrying about... Well, the dry mass here is 77, right? So let's take a look. 12.5 minus 770. So it's carrying 5 tons of propellant. You can, I think it's fair to assume that the USDV will be carrying a little bit more than that. So I doubled it, which somehow gives you pretty much the right delta V numbers. So now let's take a look. What I want to see is how much delta V does the USDV have when it's not attached to an ISS. Initial mass 20, final mass 10. 2 kilometers a second, baby. Whoa, Nelly. Nice. 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 Let me check something again. Let's say that Dragon is carrying... Well, I mean, yeah, that gives you amount. Let's say they're carrying 15 tons. Or 15 tons of fuel. 4 kilometers a second. Let's see what 8 tons get. Oh. That's enough to get to... That, dude, that's enough to get to the moon. That is easily enough to get to the moon. Heck, that's enough to get to the moon. That's enough to get to rectilinear halo, by the way. Yeah. NRHO, it's enough to get there. Sure. If you drop off some cargo, it's enough to get back, too. Yep. 1957 meters a second to circularize into rectilinear halo orbit around the moon from a trans-Earth injection. From the USDV requirement is 57 meters a second to deorbit the ISS. USDV is between 30 and 35,000 kilograms. It has 16 tons of hypergolic fuel. During its firing, it's going to use 22 to 26 engines. Ah, good. Those are numbers that I want. All right. Let's meet it in the middle. So 32, let's say it's 33 tons, right? 33 tons. So that would be 433 tons, right? And we have 16,000 kilograms of hypergolic, so that would be 417. Okay, so now get rid of the fours. Gee, that's strange. Didn't I just say 1957 is good enough to get to rectilinear? What if it's 33? What if it's 30 tons, right? And it's carrying 16 tons of fuel. So that would be 30 minus 15 or minus 16. So that'd be 14. Oh yeah. Yep. All right. All right. And you said those things, the forward-facing Super Dracos are a little more efficient because they got a bigger nozzle. So, oh, gee, yeah, okay, all right. I think it's fair. Would you guys say it's fair to assume that the USDV is a prototype Dragon XL? It's definitely a prototype Dragon XL. That SpaceX has a contract with NASA under a program called GLS, or Gateway Logistical Services. And SpaceX is building something. They need to build something to be able to get a Dragon out to the Gateway. So SpaceX proposed something called Dragon XL. They have some renders of it. They show renders of it from time to time. There's one. Yep. Yep. And look, it has the exact same propulsion system as Dragon. As a Dragon 2. It's the same thing. Dragon XL was paused until Gateway had a date to launch. Gateway has a date to launch. At least it has the mission profile, Trey. I don't think it's paused. Well, put an asterisk next to that. I think the USDV, SpaceX is going to take USDV, and they're going to modify that into Dragon XL. Yep, that's what's going on. It's the USDV without Dragon on top, right? You're going to need a way bigger vehicle to get out to the moon. With Dragon XL, since it's uncrewed, you could launch it on Falcon Heavy. Is that big enough for you? Falcon Heavy puts Dragon XL on a translunar injection, and we just did some rough numbers, right? If Dragon XL is derived at all from the USDV, let's just say it's carrying a couple tons of cargo. Yeah, that's easily enough to circularize. Yeah. Even with a ton of cargo. So 2,200 pounds, so 1,000 kilos. Yeah, 2108. That is enough. That's enough to get to Gateway. Easily. Front-facing Dracos have a long nozzle and expansion ratio. They're 330. Oh my goodness. SpaceX is doing something, dudes. That can't be a coincidence. They're doing something. They're cooking something up, dudes. They're cooking something up. Dude, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. If SpaceX can get people to rectilinear Halo on their own, NASA's going to be in for a very rude awakening, and it looks like they'll get there. I mean, that really depends on a Falcon Heavy rating. But who knows? So Dragon XL or the USDV, you launch a USDV on top of Falcon Heavy, it can get to the moon. It can easily get to the moon. It can easily get to rectilinear. They'll get it if they want it. SLS really comes into its own with the EUS. That's right. Yeah, Helios, and like I said, I like SLS and I like the EUS. I just want them to. I really, my only criticism of SLS is that they don't make enough of them. Make more, please. Please just make more. What are we going to use them for? I don't know. Going to the moon. Clearly they didn't get that memo that when you build a moon rocket, you use it to get to the moon. So they clearly didn't. They clearly missed that part, you know. Hey, who rigged up the cameras in here? Oh, who the frick are you? I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy. Now, how much do those engines on the deorbit vehicle weigh? I don't know. If you're just using if you're just using Super Dracos instead of those extra engines. Oh, yeah, it's crazy. I was at the first SLS launch at 2 a.m. Yep. Joke. But what if we take some cows to space? That's fuel. More Delta V. I'm in. Let's do it. Fuel economy is the automobile version of specific impulse. That's correct, Wendy. So for the people that don't understand what these numbers mean, sorry, it was in a habit of everybody knowing what this meant because, like in the Kerbal days, right? So specific impulse is a measurement in burn time seconds of the efficiency of the rocket engine, okay? Specific impulse is derived from your total impulse and exhaust velocity of the rocket. Basically, what that basically means, Wendy, is that if you can shoot gases out faster out the back of the nozzle, you're more efficient. Yeah. If gas goes faster, generally gas moving faster out of the rocket engine, you get more efficiency that way. But there's a lot more to it. You got to take into account mass flow rate, combustion chamber pressure, ejector feed rate. There's a bunch of it. Don't worry about it. That's the efficiency. The higher that number is, the more efficient your rocket engine. Okay? Now you have initial mass. That's how much a USDV, so the US deorbit vehicle, that's how much mass it is with a full tank of gas. And that's how much mass it is with an empty tank of gas. See what I'm saying? So this is full tank of gas, empty tank of gas. From the efficiency of the engine, right? How much mass the thing is when it's fully fueled and how much mass the thing is when it's not fully fueled, you can figure out how much a vehicle can change its velocity or how much it can accelerate. That's called delta V. Delta V is range. That's a spacecraft's range. So if this right here is your miles per gallon, that's the range. Okay, so you could get 35 miles to the gallon, right? And your range is 500 miles, right? Like that's what that says. Now, with the delta V formula, if people really want to know how it's calculated, no, I don't just I plugged that into a calculator because I was just curious, right? However, delta V calculators take into account a natural logarithmic function and gravitational constant, which is 9.81 meters a second. So you take 330, times it by 9.81, and then use a natural log for the initial mass over final mass, and that will give you delta V in meters a second. You could do it with feet per second too if you really want to, if you felt like it. You'd have to put 32 feet per second a second instead of 9.81, and that would give you it in feet per second. But yeah, I used to do delta V calculations on stream all the time because there was no other way to do it in stock KSP other than breaking out a calculator. 35 delta V to the gallon. I haven't seen it, Klavic, no. Source if you get asked. Is that the Dipod Dolphin Pro? 46 Dracos, 57 meters a second delta. Yeah, that's from Ryan. About 30 tons, 16 tons of propellant on board. Yep. Wait, so you're saying Falcon Heavy launches crew to TLI or docking with a transfer vehicle at Earth, then TLI? You could do that, Cheeseburger. Yeah. You could. It's possible. The point is that now you have a viable pathway of getting to the moon. Because before SpaceX could shoot it, SpaceX right now could put a Dragon on top of Falcon Heavy, shoot it at the moon. Sure, no problem. There's no real good way to stop. Yeah, there's no way to pump the brakes. And I know about pumping the brakes because we did that the other day, you know, and got the brakes. We got the brakes to work. Just saying. So this USDV, the service module that basically SpaceX is kind of slow rolling out, you know, with uncrewed Dragons giving ISS boost capability, and then USDV, now you have a way to step on the brakes. So you could do an Earth orbit rendezvous style thing if you really wanted to. A Falcon Heavy could put Dragon. What would be the right way to do this? Give me 1 second. Put a Dragon up there on a regular Falcon 9. Falcon Heavy could put a full, basically a fully fueled second stage up there with Dragon, with your Dragon XL style thing and a Dragon capsule attached to it. And that could get people to rectilinear halo orbit, if I'm thinking about this correctly. Let me just see something. So, a Dragon XL is 30 tons, give or take, or whatever transfer vehicle we're talking about here. Dragon fully fueled, which you would not be using the fuel here, right, is 12 tons, right? 12.5. 16 tons of propellant. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'd work. Yeah, you could do that. And then Dragon would just use its Delta V. We know Dragon has about 500 meters a second by itself. Dragon could just use its own Draco thrusters for a trans-Earth injection and re-entry, provided the heat shield could survive TEI. But yeah, that's doable. You could do an EOR. Yeah, you could do an EOR using Falcon Heavy as your Ares 5 and Falcon 9 with Dragon as your Ares 1. Yeah, you could do that. You could use Dragon XL as a transfer vehicle. Dragon XL is basically your service module. Yeah, it would be your service module for Dragon. So a Dragon 2 docked to a Dragon XL. Dragon XL has its service module that has a, you know, and then a Falcon 9 second stage. Second stage, the Falcon 9 second stage does the work of an S4B in this analogy, right? Dragon XL is your service propulsion system, so that circularizes you in rectilinear, right? And then Dragon could get you home. And provided the Pica X heat shield could take trans-Earth injection, SpaceX has a way to get people to Gateway. Two kilometers a second is not enough for TLI. No. Cheeseburger, no. What's TLI? Translunar injection is, off the top of my head, I believe 5 to 6 kilometers a second. Yeah, you'd need a Falcon 9 second stage on there. The Falcon 9 second stage might not have enough gumption to push that whole thing out there. What's Falcon Heavy's payload mass? Hold on. See, I've never really bothered to go and think about all this because, you know, we just kind of assume that SpaceX is just going to switch everything to Starship. And that probably is the case. But, you know, you start seeing stuff like this with the Dragon program. Clearly, Dragon's development is not finished because they keep just adding little improvements here. And, you know, I've started connecting the dots between some of the improvements that we've already seen, right? And I'm kind of extrapolating where that could go. Now, it's very interesting thinking about all that. If you guys are wondering, why would they even do this? Well, during the Apollo program, in case the Saturn V didn't work, NASA and everybody, the Apollo engineers developed Saturn 1B. And Saturn 1B could do EOR if the Saturn V didn't work. Meaning, you use a Saturn 1B to put a CSM up there, you use another one to put the LEM up there, right? Dock all those things together, and then you use another one to launch a fully fueled S4B up there. Scramble that thing all together, and then go to the moon. They did that, and that was their way to hedge their bets. If the Saturn V didn't work, they ultimately didn't need that, but it could be done. They even built Slick 37 to just in case 39 wasn't ready in time. You could have another way to do it. When going to LEO, Falcon Heavy is limited by its payload ring. Not mass to orbit. Payload ring. What do you mean? Yeah, Oculus. Or just put a docking port on the front of the USDV, put it on Falcon Heavy, and dock a Dragon to it. From my buddy that works at SpaceX, there's 4 to 5 more years of Falcon cargo that he's told you. Falcon Heavy payload ring is only rated for Falcon 9 low Earth orbit payload capacity. So, how is SpaceX getting the USDV up into space, guys? If it weighs 30 tons, so yeah, I'd be really curious how you put those two together. Help me understand. If Dragon 2 is docked to Dragon XL, are the forward-facing Draco thrusters covered? No. Well, that's currently, of course. Oh, of course it will change. Oh, okay. So when I say it'll change, it's not cool. But when you guys say it'll change, that's okay. Oh yeah, all right, cool. Glad we're on the same page there, or not. Those are not forward-facing. One man, what do you... That wasn't his question, Aqualex. Go look at his question again, please. My brain didn't work there. Apologies. I was just pointing out how crazy Falcon Heavy is. It's a GSL monster. It is. It's pretty good, man. The forward-facing ones are next to the docking port, like you pointed out. You need to go back and read what Hibbett said. I don't think you understood what he's asking. Help him understand. If Dragon 2 is docked to Dragon XL, aren't all the forward-facing Draco thrusters covered? Yes, the forward-facing Draco thrusters are covered, but you have backward-facing thrusters that look like they have the same nozzle diameter as that. Pointing, you know, backwards. Was that not clear? that wasn't clear, there you go. Those are definitely pointed backwards. Because if it was pointing out, you'd see one pointing right there. Those are definitely backwards. See what I'm saying, man? It's like, dude, it's like it's designed for it. No, the reality is that this is designed to go to gateway, right? So the forward-facing thrusters would be useless going to gateway as well. You do need backward-facing thrusters. You see what I'm talking about? So, I mean, it would still work, just saying. Truck, maybe? The current Dragon team has been reduced from a couple hundred engineers to less than 150, mainly working on refurbishment and support. We have a plaque sign on every engineering level saying only the paranoid survive, so expect more mods in the future. And there's also a toilet on Dragon XL. There's a toilet on Dragon, Rudy. Did you see the engine NASA Marshall posted on X 1 hour ago? I did not, Trapo. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Pythos. You don't need an out when you have 4 blocks of 3. That's correct. Scooby-Doo toilet. Yep. A working toilet. Okay, that's fair. Seriously, whoever engineered that toilet really dropped the ball. Or the deuce. Anyway, good conversations, dudes. I think that they're... Also, I love that. Only the paranoid survive. I like that. I like that a lot, because that's true. We don't talk about the current Dragon toilet. Yeah. I thought those were the smaller RCS. Super ridiculous ones. Sorry, now. Can you run into the same problem you do using Dragon station boost? MSC tonight? Oh, yeah. We're coming up on the top of the hour. That was a good space news. Good conversations, guys. Once again, we're doing these. It's cool to have these conversations, talk about Dragon, etc., etc. Thank you for everybody that contributed links today. I appreciate it. Yeah, I like talking about this. I like doing some theory crafting from time to time about where the pathways for Dragon could go, or anything. That's pretty good stuff, man. Pretty freaking cool. But yeah, the news cycle has been kind of slow. Wait. Also, wasn't there supposed to be a launch today? It is at 9:52. Okay. It's 8 o'clock. Launch is at 10. Play some Summer Car. Speaking of space, and the empty space of 5+ years since a Patriots playoff win, who we taking with the number 4 pick? I don't know, C-Mac. I'd have to go look. I've not thought about football in a good while. Only the paranoid survive. I like that. That's right. That's correct. So make it better. Don't rest on your laurels. Dragon Extra XLR concept. What is that, Baron? It's not paranoia. I'm just excited for lunar exploration. Me too. What else are you supposed to do with your stupid laurels if you can't rest on them? Throw them at somebody. Am I right or am I right, baby? You guys hear that? Do you hear it? That's the garage door. It works. Chain just got hung up. I looked at it. All right. So we're going to switch over to Summer Car. There'll just be a momentary pause on the YouTube side of things. On Twitch, just sit here and enjoy the music. See you guys in a second.